Welcome to the Gospel Liberty Podcast. Thank you for joining us for another episode. The liability culture is laughable and sad. The liability, what are we talking about? So we recently went on a trip, and we were on an airplane, and our kids play tennis. We brought our tennis rackets onto the airplane in some tennis backpacks. And you know what? You put the bag under the seat. You put your bag under the seat, and we had the tennis rack. The bag was under the seat, but the tennis rackets were just kind of barely, sticking out a little bit into the little aisle, by the feet of the people.
Yeah, like just right in
sitting.
Your own space,
Yes.
Just right where your feet are.
Yeah,
totally.
not in the aisle where
No. Just like it's literally put your bag underneath the seat in front of you. La la la. Yeah.
Yes, and we're about to take off, and one of the flight attendants comes and rudely says, "Oh, you need to take the tennis rackets out, and you need to put them up against the wall, up against the side of the airplane, like standing them up." And say, okay, why do we need to do that? Oh, because someone can trip on the racket.
If there's an emergency, then the handle there is in the way of the walking, and then your kids could trip on it if they're coming out in an emergency.
Yeah, and we have 4 kids, and there's a row of 3 and a row of 3, and we're all in one line. And you and I are sitting in the aisle, and then the kids are sitting in the middle in the window on each side of us. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, okay, wait a second. If there's an emergency, my kid is going to trip on the handle of the tennis racket. And then what? I don't understand. Couldn't he trip on just the seat right there, the little thing that's sticking out from the seat, or the tray table, or couldn't he his shoe be untied, or there's 1,000 things that could happen.
Things.
And how exactly would that occur? Like, if we're gonna run, are we gonna run off the airplane and when it's in the air? Like, no one's gonna be if the plane is going down, they're not going to be unbuckling and running to the aisle to trip.
No.
If we're going to be landing in the ocean or something, then yeah, I'll move the tennis racket before we land. In the ocean, kind of like that one captain that brought the plane down in the Hudson River by New York. I mean, it's just so hilarious to me that is the thing that they're being concerned about. But yet, then we put the rackets next to the window, and then that is almost more of a hazard, because then you have loose rackets that are just sitting up against the wall of the airplane. So the reason why they're doing this, of course, is because they don't want to get sued.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure at some point someone, tripped on something that was, not under somebody's seat, and then they sued the airline, and then they, won a case for $10 million. Mm-hmm. And then they said, okay, now we need to make sure that we can't have a tennis racket in the aisle. And then one more before we talk more about this. On the way home, I'm not joking you, they gave us paper cups before landing of water. Mm-hmm. And you're holding a paper cup of water, and the flight attendant comes by and says, this is maybe 20 minutes before we land. Oh, I need to take that. I need to take that trash before we land.
I'm like, my cup has some ice in it. I was having some ice.
No, I need
that right now.
We need to take it. You can't have that when we land. It's like, wait, what? Like, I'm just holding on to a paper cup, and
no, you can't have anything. You can't have anything out in landing. It's like, okay, there's literally no way that any flight attendant is going to be able to make sure that every single person on the plane has everything put away. Like, oh, what if someone has a snack out
in your
still?
backpack or something?
Or they're, still have their phone out, or they're reading a magazine, or a book. I mean,
which you're allowed to do.
Which you can.
That's what I don't understand.
I mean, she's just on a power trip.
Well, yeah, but that's so much of what it is. But it's also just this liability. Oh, if you're holding the cup, and it's the cup that we gave you, and then I don't even know how could anything that happen with the
flight
paper
attendant
cup?
Didn't come around
Yes.
and collect all the cups and the garbage. Yep. So therefore, I'm going to sue you because then
I hit my head on the seat in front of me when I was drinking out of the water cup when we were landing. I mean, who knows what could happen? But the reason we're bringing this up is because this liability culture of blaming other people is anti-biblical. And it's a very unbiblical society that becomes so litigious, meaning that you're just want to sue everybody for everything, that you got hurt or something. And then your first thought is it's somebody else's fault. Now, sometimes, of course, it's legitimate. And you see that in biblical case law, where if someone else's, dog bites you, or, in the scriptures, if an ox, gores you or something, and then it could be the other person's fault. And you're entitled to compensation from that if the other person didn't take the responsibility to make sure that the animal was secure. But in so many of these other cases, we've just become overly litigious. Like, oh, you bought a mattress and someone didn't disclose that there was a spring in it or something. And then, some crazy, I mean, you could just go, this stuff happens all the time.
Oh, for
but
sure.
Now everyone's so scared of getting sued that we've created these crazy rules. Like, you can't have a tennis racket. If my tennis racket is in the aisle and I trip over it, it's my own fault.
Oh, totally.
And I shouldn't be able to sue anybody because it's my own fault. Same thing if I bring a backpack on the airplane and I drop it on my head when I'm putting it in the overhead bin. It's my own fault.
For sure.
That happened.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's just, endless examples, of course. But I mean, we've been, laughing at some John Chris jokes with the kids. And something that comes to mind is, or it comes to my mind is, the little thing that comes in, a new item, and then it's filled with those little beads.
Silica.
And then it says, do not eat on it, and the kid, we are all laughing. Ha ha. Like, obviously, why would you open up that package and eat the little balls that are inside? Like, but then someone probably did that.
Yep.
And then they got, sick, or they died or whatever. And then they sued him. And so now every single one of those packages has to say, do not eat. And yeah, it's just like, there's just so many things that it's just, everywhere you go, there's just, you have to freak out and you have to read some sign or put some disclaimer on it. And,
they're everywhere.
It's just, it's just shocking. I mean, very comical, of course, but yeah, it is crazy, the world that we're living in, and just the amount of the rules that there are that are a lot of times unnecessary.
Yeah, because we've rejected personal responsibility that comes with scripture. I was doing a lift in the garage the other day, and my eye caught one of the 5-gallon buckets that we have in the garage from Lowe's. And if you see the bucket, there is so much writing on the bucket. And then I was brought back to, when I was a boy growing up, and we had these white, 5-gallon buckets at our house, and there was not a word on it. No. Like, there was nothing. It was just a white 5-gallon bucket.
Basic 5-gallon bucket.
And now, if you look at it, there are so many warning, blah, blah, blah. And this is a drowning hazard for young children and all this. Don't leave young children unattended next to a bucket. It's like, you have to just be responsible as a parent. If you fill up a 5-gallon bucket and with water, and then you have your 2-year-old, your 1-year-old right there, and you just walk away and knowing that the bucket is full, that's your own fault. You're the one. It's not the Lowe's fault that they sold you a 5-gallon bucket and didn't tell you every single bad thing that can happen. Why isn't there warning? This bucket could fall off of your house when you're on the roof and fall on somebody's head and kill them. I mean, you can't go through every single rule, but they'll just add it based on if they think it's likely to happen, so they can be covered in case they are sued.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Very, I mean, they're doing their job. They're really,
the lawyers are.
The lawyers are. They're really doing what they can to, cover their butts. But yeah, it's just, where do we go from here? Well, it's just crazy.
Yeah. It comes down to, once again, do we have the humility as people to take responsibility for our own actions? Now, once again, sometimes things are somebody else's fault. Maybe you are walking on the sidewalk and you are just walking, you're, looking at the mail that you got, just walking down the street, and someone comes from behind on a bike and runs into you. and then you slam your head on the ground and get a concussion or something, that is the other person's fault. And then they should be liable to pay for your medical bills and the pain and suffering that came from, the injury that occurred, whatever. Okay, that's clearly that person's fault. But in these other cases, they're just it's not their fault. We've removed personal responsibility and made everybody a victim. Just more examples like the famous hot coffee example from McDonald's, when the woman, dropped it on her own lap, and then she sued McDonald's because she said, the coffee was hot. And then McDonald's didn't have anything on their cup saying
it says caution.
That it was hot.
Yeah.
And if it's this is an explicit denial of Christian society, and the gospel sets us free from having to live in a society that is like this. And if as we return to Christ as a society, Lord willing, in America, and as the rest of the world, as the world becomes more and more Christianized, we should be rejecting this overly litigious laws that allow us for all of this suing for things that aren't your fault, because it makes, you have certain situations where, is it really that big of a deal? Well, you were thirsty and drinking your water, and then you just got your water taken away. So because something's going to happen with the paper cup on the airplane, now you don't get to drink the water. Or it makes it so much more difficult to carry something on a plane because now you think, oh, is someone going to trip on this or something? Those are just small examples, but then you have other examples where companies are their bottom line is getting hurt because they're getting sued, and they have to have all these extra things that they go through. All these other people that they're hiring to make sure that everything is okay. That actually takes away from production. Those people could actually be working in something that is producing something valuable, a valuable good or service, but instead they're just spending their time writing words or on a coffee cup, on packaging, or going to court to pay out somebody's $5 million lawsuit. All of this just wasted resources, rather than, once again, what it could be going to something more productive.
Oh, for sure. And all the cleaning supplies. I mean, now thankfully, most of ours are completely non-toxic, but caution, keep away from children.
Don't drink Windex.
Don't drink. It's like, okay, well, obviously only a drug dealer or a druggie would be consuming this stuff. But it's just crazy how, even on, your cleaning supplies, on your bleach or just whatever it is, is just, all this, all these words and disclaimers and cautions and warnings, left and right, just to, make sure that they're covered.
Amen. So once again, the purpose of this podcast is to show how when you are set free by Christ, it impacts all of your life. And this is one area, once again, that Christ has impacted, that we're set free from this excessive liability to, have to think that everything is our fault when it's really not our fault, or that, something bad happens to us and we're immediately looking at, who can I blame for this?
Shifting the blame.
I got injured.
Taking the responsibility.
Yeah. I got injured, playing soccer. So therefore I'm going to sue the city league because they didn't have the grass cut right or something, I mean, and just blaming somebody else rather than just, no, we live in a fallen world and tough things happen. And sometimes it's my fault. Sometimes it's just nobody's fault. I mean, if somebody gets injured in a soccer game or something, it's just a part of the game. We have to be set free to think biblically about these things, and we should be fighting against it. Spread awareness. Bring this up at your next family meal. Oh yeah, isn't this interesting? And get people thinking about it, so that they don't think it's normal that everyone is suing everybody, and that you have all these disclaimers everywhere that just seem so obvious, like do not eat on those little gel packets that come to keep things dry or whatever they're for. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Gospel Liberty Podcast.